So you're thinking about moving to Edmonds, Washington.
And of course, you want to know the good and the bad, the pros and the cons before you make such an important decision. And today we're going to do just that. We're going to look at both the advantages and disadvantages of living in Edmonds.
And we are going to get after it right now.
If this is your first time to our channel and you want to know everything about living in Greater Seattle, then hit the subscribe button and tap the bell for notifications so you'll be the first to know about our current market.
My name is Jess.
My name's Sterling.
We're local realtors. Our team gets calls and emails every day from people just like you looking to make their move here, and we absolutely love it. So whether you're planning on making that move in 9 days or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. We would love to help you make that smooth move to the Greater Seattle area.
So let's dive right into the pros and cons of Edmonds. And the very first pro is the very quaint atmosphere of Edmonds.
Yes, it has such a strong sense of community. So if you're looking for an area that's not too far from Seattle, that really has a core sense of community and a central downtown location, Edmonds has it. It has great boutique shops, restaurants, it has the ferry terminal, it has tons of community events throughout the year. 4th of July, they have a parade. Around Halloween, they close down part of downtown Edmonds and you can take your family and trick or treat. In the summer months, they have concerts and they have food fairs, they have a great farmer's market. It is chock full of community events if that's something that you're looking for.
Yeah, what makes it so cool is you don't have any of the high rises or skyscrapers. The tallest building in Edmonds is only a few stories high. And so it keeps that quaint feel. And they have this gorgeous downtown with views, which we'll talk about in just a moment because it's right on the water. That's another pro. And the sense of community and the charm is not very equaled in Greater Seattle.
Yeah.
So Edmonds really has this unique feel to it. The next pro for living in Edmonds is the beauty. We just talked about the charming downtown, and that of course is quaint and attractive, but also the natural beauty. Because Edmonds is right on the Puget Sound, there are 5 miles of waterfront, of coastline. So that gives a lot of benefits for people who are visiting the beach or even in a home with a nice view. There are a ton of opportunities to see the Olympic Mountains because you're facing west and to capture those gorgeous sunsets in the evenings.
Yeah, and Edmonds, the way that the downtown area is shaped, they call it the Edmonds Bowl. So you have right down at the waterfront and it sweeps up this huge hill. And so again, it provides opportunities for a ton of homes to have that beautiful west facing view, as well as if you're looking for condo living, they have a lot of great options for that in the downtown area. Point Edwards is a great community as well that overlooks the ferry and the water. So yeah, not only does it have just abundance of great natural views for the waterfront, but it also has over 47 parks and 230 acres of outdoor space. So you're never gonna want for options when it comes to spending time outdoors. And if you have a furry friend, they have an off-leash dog park as well down at Marina Beach. So that's super convenient as well.
The next pro for living in Edmonds is the convenient North End location. It's about 15 miles north of Seattle, and that's about the same distance as Linwood, the neighbor to Edmonds on the east side of Edmonds, and the same distance north as Bothell is.
Yeah, and it's really easy to get out to the freeway to I-5. It's about 15 minutes, as well as to 2 light rail stations. So you have access to one in Mount Lake Terrace, which is about 15 minutes from downtown Edmonds, and another one in Linwood. So depending on where you are situated within Edmonds, if you're on the north end of Edmonds, then you'll probably want to hit the Linwood station. And if you're on the south end of Edmonds, you'll want to hit that Mount Lake Terrace station. But that gives you convenient access to both of those spots, as well as right downtown Edmonds, it has a train station, and that not only allows for Amtrak, it allows for commercial trains, as well as the Sounder, which is a great way to commute to downtown Seattle as well. And tying right into that last point, another great thing about Edmonds is if you can't find it in Edmonds, it neighbors other cities where you can find whatever you need. So it neighbors Linwood, where you can find anything that you need with shopping. It has a Costco, it has has Alderwood Mall, as well as Shoreline, which also has a Costco and Home Depot. So if you can't find what you are looking for within Edmonds, it's so close to these other communities that it's easy to access whatever you need.
That's a great point. You don't have to head into Seattle to hit a car dealership or a lumber yard or the hardware store. It's all either in Edmonds, and if you can't find it in Edmonds, it's going to be in Linwood, Shoreline, or one of the other surrounding communities. Another pro is the relative safety. Because you're not living in the big city, being in the suburb of Edmonds, it's only natural that there's going to be fewer crime statistics that you can see online. And when we are talking to happy residents in Edmonds, they report the relative safety. The crime that does occur there is mostly petty crime. It's not as egregious as some of the things in the big city of Seattle.
Yes, and Edmonds is part of the Edmonds School District, which gets a B+ rating on niche.com. So it's a good school district. You don't have to send your kids to private school if you don't want to. Of course, you do have that option as well. It does have wonderful private schools, but it's always nice to know that you are moving into a location where the main school, public school district is a good one. So before we move on to the cons of Edmonds, if you are interested in calling Edmonds home, then you will want to make sure to check out our other two videos. One is a vlog, it's a walking neighborhood tour to give you some ideas of what homes would be like in the Edmonds area. It has a lot of great driving footage and shots of Edmonds. And the other one is going to be a map video where we break down Edmonds, where things are located within Edmonds, and it has a lot of other good information. So be sure to check those out if you are interested in calling Edmonds home.
No place, no community is absolutely perfect. There are always going to be some trade-offs. So let's talk about the cons of living in Edmonds. The first con is the commute time to Seattle. Being 15 miles north of Seattle, you might think easy peasy. Unfortunately, we have some of the worst traffic congestion during rush hour. So that can turn into some major gridlock during those popular commute times. So if you are planning on going to Seattle or even north to Everett, do plan on that because that is a concern for commuters.
Yeah, in good traffic, you're looking at about 30 to 35 minutes to get to downtown Seattle. But if there's any sort of traffic or backups on the freeway, you are looking at 45 minutes to an hour. So you will want to take that into account if you are planning to live in Edmonds and work in Seattle. Again, as one of the pros, we talked about how it is located close to the light rail and the commuter train that heads into Seattle. So those could be alternate options as well.
Just to get to the freeway is going to take you, depending on where you are in Edmonds, is going to take you anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes. And then you have the commute time on the freeway. You could go back roads, you could go Highway 99 as well, but most people are going to use I-5 to get to downtown.
Another con is that in the summer months especially, the downtown area of Edmonds can get pretty congested with all of the ferry traffic. So Highway 104 is one of the main roads that you can take from I-5 to get all the way into downtown Edmonds. Part of that gets really backed up as traffic lines up to take the ferries over to the Kitsap Peninsula to visit Kingston and all the great things over there. So especially during the summer months when we have all the great tourist season, that can get things a little bit more congested and make it a little bit more difficult to get around, especially just in the downtown area of Edmonds.
Speaking of which, some people may complain about the ferry horn. They have a loud fog horn to when they're underway so they don't hit other boats. So they give a pretty big ferry blast to notify the other boats that they are underway crossing the sound to get to Edmonds, to Kingston. And the other thing is because there is an active train system, not just commuter trains, but more of the freight trains delivering products to Seattle, that can be loud with the freight train noise, specifically when they blast the train horn. So some people who are sensitive to those noises may not like that, and that could be a deterrent. We find that it's charming,
yes.
And it adds some nice atmosphere hearing those sounds, but that's something else to consider. Another possible con for some folks is that it's not urban enough. This is a suburb and a very popular suburb of Greater Seattle. However, for those of you who like the hustle and bustle and have everything at your fingertips within walking distance, you're not going to find everything in Edmonds, as charming as the downtown area is. You're not going to have a popular nightlife scene. You're not going to have all the things that the big city has to offer.
And along with that, while there are some jobs within Edmonds, there's no major employer within Edmonds. So more than likely, if you live in Edmonds, you will be needing to factor in that commute time. Unless, of course, you have the luxury of working from home, then that is very convenient for you to live and work in Edmonds.
Perhaps the biggest con for living in Edmonds is the cost of living.
Surprise! You're gonna hear that a lot on our pros and cons videos.
If you've heard our videos on other neighborhoods, it's oftentimes the cost of living. And this prevents many people from moving to Greater Seattle because, let's face it, we do live in a very expensive place. At the time of this recording, the median sales price for a home in Edmonds is $820,000. And that's not the fancy homes with a beautiful view. So if you do live or you want to purchase a home in the popular Bowl area, close to the water, or a home with a nice view, it's going to run well north of $1 million. So $1.5 to $2.5 million, you can get a great home with nice views, and you just have to be prepared to pay. Like every community, like every neighborhood, there are pros and cons to living in Edmonds. Now, we personally find Edmonds one of our favorite neighborhoods in the North End. So why is that? Well, for one, it has a real signature feel to it. You're not going to find that in Linwood or Lake Forest Park or Bothell or Shoreline. Those are all great places to live for the right reasons as well. But Edmonds has this charm that people all over the Greater Seattle area love. So people who don't live in Edmonds will drive up there for an ice cream, to go see a movie at the small movie theater. Hop on the ferry,
go check out Kingston. You know, there's so many things to do.
It's a little bit like the Gilmore Girls community in the sense of that community charm. And that is attractive that you don't find everywhere in the Northwest. So I think that's the real thing that sets Edmonds apart, along with the natural beauty, being close to the water. What do you think?
Yeah, I would agree. And I think the only downsides would be just depending on where you need to go for work. If you're having to make a commute that's 45 minutes to an hour every day, Edmonds may not be that perfect place for you. But if you can afford living in Edmonds and you want a suburb that's not right within the city, that does have that community feel, Edmonds would be at the top of my list as well. And with that, we hope that you enjoyed this pros and cons list of Edmonds. And whether you're planning to move in 90s or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. We'd love to help you make that smooth move to the Greater Seattle area.